Steve Patolidis. This was Fred. Thompson just checked his run. He stayed onside. Also wants it first time in the middle. And it was played just behind the Melbourne number 9. That's a goal kick.
Well, just behind him. But what about the challenge from Costanzo?
Costanzo.
G'day guys and welcome to the Purebred Reds Adelaide United Fan TV. I'm your host Ellis Gelios and we're here today for our second Reddened Legends segment, and I have none other than one of Adelaide United's most iconic ever central defenders in its entire history, Angelo Costanzo. Ange, thanks so much for coming in today.
No problem.
Great to have you.
To be here still just before Christmas.
Yeah, it's just on the eve of Christmas, and it's great to finally get you in after a few hassling phone calls, but we had to do it eventually.
I was deciding to maybe get an AVO out for you, so I decided against it.
I think when the term Adelaide United Legend springs to mind, everyone remembers obviously the long hair and the crucial last-ditch challenges. So if anyone's ever going to do a series where they're interviewing legends from yesteryear of Adelaide United, you're going to have to be one of the first few that is involved. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, we had to do it, mate. And like I said, an inaugural A-League player for the club in season 2005-06. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how things have been going for you just most recently? You played in the Legends game, obviously. What was that like, getting a call up again?
Yeah, it was good. I'm still recovering now though, but it was good to first of all catch up with everyone again.
Yeah.
It gets difficult now to catch up with everyone's doing their own thing, so that was good to meet everyone again, see everyone again. So and then to play was good. And, we got a good result, and everyone was happy, and a few beers and later, and a few sore bodies. So
brilliant, mate. Brilliant work. Well, Ange, why don't we start at the very beginning? So you first rose to prominence in 1994 when you were just 18 years of age. You were playing at Salisbury United and you won the SA Player of the Year award, which is now known as the Sergio Melter medal. Remarkable achievement for an 18-year-old, of course, and something that we'd never usually see today at all. As a result of this, you were recruited by Adelaide City, and who were a force of the old NSL at the time and mentored by the likes of Alex Tobin and Milan Ivanovic. Talk us through this period in your life when you were first emerging as one of this state's greatest ever defenders.
Yeah, it was a bit surreal at the time. I was only 17, 18 at that stage, still at school. So I happened. The year before was my first year at Salisbury. I was a junior there originally, but then I went away and then come back as a coach, Chris Manilev.
Okay.
I was with him at Azuri, Blue Eagles, and under 15, 16s. Then he got the job at Salisbury. So me and my two brothers who were at Azuri as well all went to the first team over there. So. I spent 2 years under him. The first year I started in the under 18s that year, so just progressed through to the first team and played half a year the first year, and then the second year, '94, I had a pretty good year and ended up winning the Serge Melder medal.
Pretty remarkable. You basically then played for Adelaide City for a few years, and then that takes us into 2002. You got to play for the Socceroos on 6 different occasions. You managed to score. A few people might not know about the fact that you played for Australia, just because it happened during a time where we hadn't made the World Cup yet for such a long period of time, and people didn't have as much interest in the national team as they might now. Tell us about what that period was like. I understand it was against a few Oceanian teams. What went on?
My debut was against Colombia in Colombia.
Okay.
So that was
friendly.
Friendly game. Yeah. So that was a bit of an experience, and then.
So was that on the Ferreira?
Yeah, on the Ferreira, and then also went to Japan. They opened up one of the new stadiums in there before the World Cup as well. So played there, and then we played in the Oceania tournament in New Zealand as well. So managed to get in the score sheet as well, which was good. And so that was a dream come true for me. Growing up as a kid, I always wanted to play. First of all, I wanted to play for Adelaide City, and managed to do that. And then Socceroos was always a goal for me to play, and managed to do it as well at Marconi. And back in those days, the NSL wasn't a lot of coverage. The Adelaide people was pretty. Adelaide really knew about Adelaide, and Sydney knew about Sydney, so it wasn't much publicity like there is now about it. But it was still a big thrill for me, and one of those dreams that as a little kid you always dreamed to play for the Socceroos.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I'm guessing the goal was a header off a set piece, or
it was. I think it was against Tahiti. They're not the tallest.
New Caledonia.
New Caledonia, one of those teams there. So we played Tahiti, Caledonia, New Zealand and stuff. So it was set piece, corner came in, and just got on the end of it. Not one of my strong points, but for that game it was.
Wow, there you go. Brilliant stuff, Ange. So maintained a pretty steady career in the NSL, just on the eve of when A-League plans were starting to sort of come about. A little incident occurred where there was reports in the media through the BBC in the UK that there was interest from Patrick Thistle in the Scottish Premiership in regards to wanting to sign you. Now, it didn't eventuate. The manager, I've got a quote from him, his name was Jerry Collins. He said, we're in agreement with Marconi Stallions, but the player has moved the goalposts and the deal has become too rich for us, so the transfer is dead and buried. What went on here? Because it's a potential move to Europe. We haven't heard your side to it, so I'm sure you wanted to get yourself out there eventually.
It happened pretty quick. I think it was the transfer deadline was coming up, and it was going to be a loan deal. Just I spoke to a few people. It wasn't financially. It wasn't very good for me. I had a wife and kids, and they wanted me to go over and stay with other players and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I just didn't think that was right for me. So so in the end, we just knocked it back and stayed at Marconi. Move of the year. So it was more to do financially. Just financially wasn't worthwhile. But it just would have set me back a lot. And then even they said I had to stay with other players, and it's not ideal for wife and kids to stay with other people. So we just knocked it back in the end. And they weren't travelling too well in the Scottish First Division, ended up getting relegated as well. So I just at that time just wasn't right for me.
So a good move in hindsight. Obviously, you've got to look after yourself first and foremost.
And I wasn't 17, 18 either. So I was mid-20s. I reckon at that stage. So it wasn't ideal to go at that stage, so I just knocked it back in the end.
Well, it's good to hear your side. Did it ever sort of creep into your mind that maybe the circumstances in the deal aren't great, but if I do get myself over there, I'm potentially being exposed by playing against the likes of Celtic and Rangers? Maybe it leads to other clubs around Europe getting to notice me more than playing in the NSL. Did that ever come into mind? Or
no, not really. I just thought
you knew what you wanted to do.
The Scottish. It's a good league if you go to those top couple of teams financially and stuff like that. But I just didn't think I thought maybe from here you could probably get something in Europe as well. And I just, it didn't really, at that stage I was pretty comfortable in Sydney and stuff, so I just decided against it.
And obviously Marconi at the time, huge club, still are historically.
Very big club.
And so anyhow that happened, and then you decided not to go for that move, and then I think the NSL ended and you went and played at Campbelltown locally.
I come back to Adelaide because I was in Sydney for 4 years, from 2000 2004, and then decided to come back and sign with Adelaide. So I signed with United and then just come back in that off season and played half a season with Campbelltown towards the end of the season.
So what was it like? I mean, because obviously players, I imagine, were a little bit uncertain about how things were going to be. It's a new league, a lot of new sort of not rules, but regulations, in the sense that they wanted to sort of get rid of all the ethnic clubs, and all that historical side of things was gone. It was a new club, Adelaide United. We'd only had the one season in the last NSL year. So here you are, you signed for United, playing locally, just waiting for the league to start. I mean, where were you at this point in your career? What were you thinking? Were you thinking that it was wise to definitely come back home and all that, or where were you at?
I had, like I said, I had my son Dominic, and we were away from the family for 4 years, and my wife is from Adelaide as well, so we just decided I think it was time to come back. I had a good offer from Sydney FC to stay over there, so they made a very, very big offer for me, but I just thought, no, it was time to go home, so decided to come back home, and then the rest was pretty much history, isn't it? So the NPL was very strong that year too, because you had the likes of Valcarnas, Aloisi, all the Adelaide United boys ended up playing another half a year in that NPL, and then the year after the A-League started. So it would have been interesting to see if Adelaide City would have actually got into the A-League as well. They pulled out late in that late NSL season, so it would have been interesting if they did stay in, if they managed to take him into the A-League after that, because like you said, they wanted to get away from that ethnic stone, which was a good thing and a bad thing, because then you see it in Sydney and Melbourne, a lot of the Croatians, and they don't go follow any of those teams
absolutely,
to that background. And even here, a lot of Italians and Greeks, the West Adelaide City, didn't really get on board with Adelaide United, so they're trying to get a whole new genre of people, and they managed to do that the first few years. Adelaide United, we got big crowds.
So anyway, going back to around 2005, the A-League is about to begin for the 2005-06 season, the first ever one in the competition. Kuzmina's the manager. We've assembled a pretty good squad, mainly based off of South Australian talent, with a couple of imports in there as well. What was this period like? Can you tell us about the type of sessions you were having, the first ever few that you had, and what you were feeling, where this team might go? Will the South Australian public react to it like they might have done if it was a City or a West Adelaide? What was the feeling like? Obviously, they didn't do too badly in the 2003 NPL, the NSL year. So here we were again in the A-League this time around. How did you think it was all going to go for you?
The team we got together was an experienced team. It was an older team, but mainly Adelaide based, which was good. So everyone knew each other, and it was a good vibe. The vibe was good, and we were doing a lot of promotions and stuff before the season started. I remember we'd go to pretty much an NPL team once a month or once every few weeks. We'd train at their facility, barbecue, and everyone got behind us. So just those little things, and everyone seemed part of it. Early on, we started pretty much a lot before everyone else, because Adelaide United was already set up. The other clubs pretty much weren't.
Franchises.
We got together a lot earlier and started training. Training was, was good. We were doing 3 or 4 sessions a week, just ticking over pretty much, just because it was so early. So
where were you training?
We were
Santos.
A bit of Santos. We were at mainly at Sassy.
Okay.
Yeah, down on Valletta Road.
Yeah,
We did a bit of work there, a little bit at High Marsh as well. And then later on, once everything got announced and it was all in, then we started training full time. So pretty much early on, it was only 3 or 4 nights. Bit of gym, bit of not too much, but it was good. Yeah. We gelled together. You know, the team was good, and it showed in that first season that even minor premiers. So
you've got the likes of you, Travis Dodd, Pantelis, Robbie Bage, Daniel Beltrame, a real SA sort of contingent. What was your relationship like with the owner at the time, Nick Bianco?
I reckon the first year was Gordon. Gordon Pickard. He was good. He was
obviously got the club.
Got the club going, and then brought a lot of sponsors in, and they tried to do a lot. He's a fantastic guy, and does a lot for the state. So he wanted a football team here, and he pretty much backed it. And then he passed it on to Nick, or they sold it, and Nick just kept it going and probably improved it a bit more with getting more people involved, because Nick was a generous man, so a lot of people got involved. And I remember we used to have barbecues there on a Friday before the game and stuff. And started off small. It was just supposed to be media to get them into the club, which was a good thing as well. So we used to mix with the media a lot, and we got a lot of media attention. And then they grew up. They grew huge. I remember. There'd be a couple hundred people there the day before for a barbecue and stuff. So it was just fantastic. A lot of support, and everyone got behind us.
Brilliant. So then obviously the season plays out. We win the inaugural minor premiership, and then go out to the Mariners in during the final series. Was it a disappointing feeling, and did you definitely feel like we underachieved that year, given we finished top of the league? And traditionally, clubs that around the world win the league, that's the main sort of golden nugget. But for us, it kind of gets forgotten a lot that you guys achieved that in the first season.
In Australia, it's grand final. We brought up on that grand final, so minor premier. Well, it's good to win, but it's not the end result that you want. So we won. I think we won the minor premiership with probably 3 or 4 games to go, and that probably worked against us. Maybe we took the foot off the pedal a little bit, and then by the time we got to finals, we lost that little bit of momentum and stuff. So and then in the end, Sydney, we lost to Sydney in 2 legs, and then Central Coast we were out, straight sedge. So it was very disappointing.
Fair enough. Well, then obviously that off-season happened. There was a bit of recruitment. John Cosmina was taking you into the second season under his management. So we get into 06-07. How was the season for you? A lot of things started happening. It was right off the back of the Socceroos and their achievements in the 2006 World Cup. Definitely spiked local interest here as well.
Yeah, it did.
And safe to say, again, we performed exceptionally well that year, and it was really the one year where you sort of identified you and Mickey Valkanis as being the heart of the defence, and continuing to be that hopefully for many more years to come. It felt like a really good season, and felt like people were happy behind the scenes, at least during the home and away year. Why don't you tell us about how this was this year, and how you were playing yourself and all that?
Yeah, it was a good year. I enjoyed playing, and like I said with Mickey, we had a good partnership, good understanding there in the centre of defence, so that worked out well. And the year was pretty good until that last game, which was.
I was going to ask you about that in a second, but obviously it was a weird kind of year, because we were winning pretty much at home consistently, and then suddenly we get this sister club relationship with Miami FC. We played a friendly, I remember, and then it was done. Romario was going to come, and no one really knew what to expect. Given all the hype and all that was going on, for the playing group, given it was so long ago, can you take us back there and tell us what you thought about it at the time?
It was a big buzz for the group. A lot of Romario is a big name, even though he was
on the
right at
side,
the end of his career, he still was a great player, and you'd see the little bit of brilliance at training as well, and he'd like to play his beach soccer volley as well. He was playing that a lot, so the quality was, and he was a nice guy. We got to meet him, we got to know him a little bit, and down to earth, and not real. You hear about some of these players that just
up themselves.
Where he was far from it, and he was World Cup winner. He won the World Cup, and
played at the biggest clubs.
Yeah, in the world, he did. And he was at Barca for a number of years, and just got talking to him, and it was good to have him around the group. But a couple of things probably because he didn't. I don't know if he really grew to him. He was only here for 4 games, so.
It was never long.
No, and the publicity we got around the world was huge as well. So, and that's probably something they didn't capitalise on. They probably should have. While they had him here, done coaching clinics and stuff like that. They could have easily done that and generated more income, but they just probably didn't want to bother him. That was the type of people Nick and the guys were. They didn't want to bother him. They just brought him, done the job, and then that's it, pretty much.
During that year, the likes of yourself, Canis, Dodd, all just going about your business, but we also had Nathan Burns break out during this season. Do you feel like, looking back on it, we, as a public in the state here, overhyped him? Or could you see, he definitely had the talent, and if he just sort of timed his move to Europe correctly, it might have all worked out.
Him and Bruce did come in at that stage, and they did well. They scoring goals, and they both did very well. And probably, in hindsight, probably didn't make the right move going to Athens. He went, didn't really play much, and hasn't really probably gone on where he probably should have. But sometimes when you're 18, 19, and a club comes in for you and offering you good money, it's hard to say no as well. So. Some people do say no and pick probably the right pathway and just time it, whereas some just probably go off. I'll take the money, and he still had a very good career, but probably what we probably expected more after seeing him so early do so well.
So we get into the final series eventually. After a preliminary final against the Newcastle Jets, we get into the grand final, our first ever one, away to Melbourne victory. We don't need to say much more to set the scene. Everyone remembers it. I haven't, because the last legend that I interviewed was Cassia. He came the year after, so I haven't had the opportunity to speak to someone and sort of get inside their head about, and not that you'd want to go there, I'm sure, but I just want to know, at what stage did you feel like this was going to turn into a bit of a nightmare? Because obviously Ross got himself sent off. We didn't start that badly.
No, we had a couple of chances early on, and
people forget that, don't they? In the manner of the defeat, people forget that we actually started this game on the front foot, and somehow. It didn't help with Cozzy not being in the dugout, but somehow it all just capitulated. What happened, Ange? Because you were right there in the heart of the defence, and no one would have had a better memory of it than you, I'm assuming. So
it was like you said. Cozzy was suspended from the week before. He's up in the grandstand, which makes it difficult. Your coach is your leader, and you look for him. So he wasn't there, and then. We started off well. A couple of chances. I think Muskie's gone through Diego as well. Got unpunished. And then he was carrying an injury. We hear later going into the game, and he gets injured, and he was pretty influential for us that year too. Diego, a lot of things went through him, and didn't have the game. And then. Go 2-0 down, and your captain gets sent off, so it's always going to be difficult, and you're behind the 8 ball straight away, and we probably could have easily just defended and kept it 2-0, but we probably tried to go for it, and they ended up putting a few on us in the end. So it was very disappointing. We went in, we were confident going in. The team was well experienced. We did well to get there, and We probably stuff though. We probably the preliminary or the game before with victory. We
took a lot out of us.
Yeah, the two games. We played the two legs, and we
last minute.
Yeah,
us. James Robinson.
Looped in. We haven't heard of him ever since.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was. We were probably 1 minute away from hosting the grand final.
Yeah.
And we probably, I know we beat Newcastle at home and penalties and stuff, but probably didn't recover from that. The Melbourne game originally, and would have been a lot different playing at home, having the week off, refreshing, because we did have a group that was a little bit older. Then we went to extra time with Newcastle, so it took a bit out of us, and then but no excuses. We just weren't good enough after that. And like I said, you got your coach in the grandstand and your coach and captain in the grandstand after 20 minutes. It made it very difficult, and went down, and then a bit of hell broke loose after that for a little bit, so a few weeks.
Just before you touch on all of that, did Archie Thompson scoring 5 goals, did that make you, going into the next season playing against him, did that give you any kind of reason to always pay special attention towards him from that point? Like, was it something that kept you up at night, or was it just a case of, look, we let our guard down that game and he just got the better of it?
Oh, we always knew he was a good player, but I think, to be fair, that's probably the first time he scored against us. First 2 years.
It's not a bad shout.
They couldn't. I reckon it was 6 games they didn't score against us, and then they just unleashed on us, didn't they, for that game? So I played with Arch. Arch is a nice, very nice guy, and just wrong day for us, for him to score. So I would have preferred he scored the 6 games before than that one. But
of course,
you look back and you think what could have been, but that's life, and we just move on after that.
Yeah, well, look, it must have been an immensely strange period for you and the rest of the playing group, because obviously, after a 6-0 loss in a final, there's going to be questions asked everywhere, and we had an Asian Champions League campaign to prepare for, and people kind of, with so much time having passed, people forget that. Like, people think it was a huge off-season of change and that, but it wasn't technically. We actually went straight into an Asian Champions League campaign, but at the same time there was stuff unfolding, and obviously Cozzy went, and a few of obviously Ross went as well, and some new players were obviously signed for the next season and for the ACL campaign. Were you ever sort of consulted around this time for your recommendations, for your views on what should happen going forward? Because one of the senior members of the playing group, you've had a bad loss in a final. How do things spiral on from there behind the scenes? What was going on?
Not really. I spoke to him a little bit, but nothing. No, not the decision making thing. I think that Nick and the board, they had the decision made up probably the week before the grand final, I think. It wasn't a good look, and Nick was liked the image of the club to be a good one. So in the end, I can't remember if because he quit or a bit of a mutual agreement. I think they parted ways with him, and Vidi came in on a temporary basis early on, and then had a good Asian Champions League, or fairly good Asian Champions League, and got the job full time after that.
So that takes us into 2007, 2008. It's a rebuild-like season. Obviously, Vidi came in, like you said. Once again, we were treated to flawless defensive displays by you and Michael Valkanis in the heart of defence, even though results weren't particularly consistent in that season. What was it like playing alongside Valkanis frequently, as it's often not the case that central defenders can successfully establish a pairing as dominant as you guys were for that long? Take us back to that 07-08 season and your relationship.
We didn't really meet until the first year of Adelaide United, or as soon as he was there the year before and I came in, and then we pretty much started playing together and formed a good relationship, and we're still friends, very close friends to this day, and we just clicked as defenders. We had an understanding of play together, and we pretty much, like I said, we didn't really know each other, but it just clicked out on the field and become very close friends, and end up coaching together at Adelaide United, with the youth team for 4 or 5 years, and still speak to him today regularly. He's in Holland and doing very well over there, so we still got a close relationship.
Brilliant. And so, how did you feel at the end of that season? We didn't make finals, but like I said, the first season under a new manager, and we were still recovering from what had happened the year before. Did you feel like the club was still moving in a decent direction at this point in time? We still had a pretty good year in the sense that some good players were brought in. There were a lot of good moments, but just fell a bit short in the end there. Yeah, and it was obviously also I think Alagic's last season. Yeah, he finished up, and at the end of that year, because then he went into the Champions League. His last game was in Champions League in China. Brought in a few players. A-League season probably didn't go to plan, but then that was the start of our Asian Champions League campaign, which went on to make the final. It started from that period there, which was amazing experience. Yeah, so obviously historic chapter for the club. We were right on the cusp of achieving something that had never previously been achieved by any Australian club. At the time, the rules were that you had to finish first to get out of the group. So again, a real different dynamic for people like you that had never experienced playing in Asia before in the NSL years. What was it like going into the second ACL campaign? Had you learned heaps from the first one? And what was it like going on this journey where we had to get a result out of Changchun Yatai in the last group game, and you guys managed to do it. A lot of heart-stopping moments, but
it was.
You went there and you managed to get it done on a salary cap restriction. So
that was the biggest thing is the first year we played when Vidi took over. You're just hearing everything like Asian Champions League. It's going to be tough and hard, and they're on big money. You got players that pretty much earning what our whole salary cap was. So that first year we went in there and probably a little bit overawed. But then once we started playing, we're thinking, it's not that hard. It wasn't that difficult, you know what I mean? So the first year was a bit of an eye, and then the second one we knew what to expect and we prepared probably better for it. You go over there and they're difficult teams, difficult places to be around and live in, but we managed and we did well. And that last game against Changchun, we can remember it clearly that I think they had an earthquake there, and so the game got delayed we had to spend another extra day over there, and then end up playing the game out 0-0, and we're under the pump the whole game, and then just managed to get that draw that we needed and go through the next round.
Just going back a little bit to the 07 ACL campaign, you actually took the armband on a few occasions, and then it was decided going into 07-08, I believe, or 08-09 rather, to that 08-09 that you were not going to be one of the captains, and it was going to be about Canis' deputy and Travis Stodd as the holder of the armband. Did you agree with this, or did you put your name forward for it?
Well, for that Champions League, I was only temporary. I probably didn't want to do it at that stage, and because Mickey was vice captain, he was going, and then after the grand final, so they decided I'd do it. It's temporary, and then I enjoyed doing it, and then Mickey and Travis ended up getting it, and that didn't stop me from still being a leader and the way I play. So that didn't really change. Didn't make a difference, armband or not. So I was a little bit disappointed, but that's these things happen.
So you did throw your name in the ring?
I did. I still wanted to do it afterwards. I enjoyed doing it, but these things happen, like I said, and you move on and you just play and you still lead. It doesn't mean you don't be a leader and stuff like that. So I still managed to do that as well. So
and definitely didn't affect how you were playing prior to that. All right, so we get into the 2008-09 season. For the club, it was obviously phenomenally good, having made the ACL final, the A-League Grand Final, and the FIFA Club World Cup. Now we're riding a massive momentum wave in the ACL. You've bought your kit. You got to play against Rivaldo, and he gave you his kit. One of the greatest ever players of the modern era of football. So that was against Bunyod Court.
Signed it as well, so it's good. Yeah, that was a great experience. And I was talking to someone the other day, and especially about Bunyod Court when we played them at home. They reckon that was the older guy. He reckons he's been Adelaide City. Everything. He reckons that was the loudest and biggest crowd he's seen at home. And that was probably one of the best memories of that Champions League was playing against them. Especially here, it was 0-0 for ages. And then
they were on top, I think.
Yeah, and then we just went bang, 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 3 goals.
Just unloaded on.
And then we went. I got this in the second game over there. The first game, towards the end of the game, Paul Reed's marking Rivaldo everywhere, so we wouldn't have anyone getting near his shirt. So the last 5 minutes, he's following him all over. So he swapped shirts with him, and then the second game. I ended up swapping with him at half time. So.
Right, wow.
I thought I'd get in there early.
Oh, so you went up and asked him at half time? Yeah.
Thought I'd get in there early and made the swap because I knew after the game was going to be big for him.
There's footage I'll never forget of, there was the whole media story made up of how, they travelled here in a private jet and we had to go in, I think for one leg of the flight, you went economy it was obviously going there was just such unfamiliar territory, we'd never gone over there to the Western Asian regions, and you've gone to a real strange country. I understand a lot of weird things happened, your passports got taken, something like that.
A long trip too. I think it took over 30 hours to get there. We went, we ended up in India, so we travelled from India to Uzbekistan, so it was a long trip, and then we got to the airport in Uzbekistan and we had to hand over our passports, and boom, the guy disappeared with our passports. So we were sitting in customs for probably an hour or so, if not more, wondering where this
early hours of the morning.
Yeah, it was early, and then I think in the end they just had to pay a bit of cash, and we ended up getting through. And then they just, I remember we were training. There'd be black Merc on the hill, a few guys in suits just watching us.
Seriously?
Yeah, so it's a pretty shady country, but in the end we got the result we wanted, and we pretty much moved on to the final. Yeah,
there was great footage of you coming back to the Adelaide airport, so many fans there. After that Bunyod Court result to get us through to the final. Just knowing you'd come back and you'd made an Asian Champions League final with a group of players that were earning wages within a salary cap. And the fact that nothing like this was ever dreamed of a couple of years before. Was this for you the kind of feeling that you'd reached the peak of your sort of where you wanted to go with your career, or was it a case of having represented Australia, nothing can beat that?
Yeah, for me, representing Australia was the biggest thing, and then along the way you just experienced different journeys, and this was another one, and it was good while it was happening. The publicity was huge. I remember back then.
It
we were all over. It was huge. And one area, FFA probably didn't help a lot, rescheduling games and maybe getting us better flights, because I remember we'd travelled two or three stops every time we went. So. FFA didn't really get involved in that side of thing, which they probably should have, because we're representing Australia in the day as well, and we'd come back and then have to play an A-League game pretty much the next day, 2 days. So it didn't really help. Whereas now they reschedule games and change them around a little bit for them as well. So so we managed to do it against the odds pretty much. Unfortunately, the final didn't go to plan, but. It was a good experience.
Amazing to get there at least, which is what people will never forget. For you personally, throughout this year, I think it was Cornthwaite that started coming in, and there was rotations happening. We had obviously Sasha as well playing, but suddenly the pairing of you and Mickey Valkanis was no longer prevalent. was this a bit of a concerning period because you started thinking, well, I sort of wanted to finish up in my home state, and now it looks like, first and foremost, you want to be playing because you're that kind of guy. You're not going to sit on the bench and be happy to do that and just earn a wage without playing. So, were you starting to have a few doubts, even though there was so much elation going on within, the locker room at the time, or what was happening here in your mind?
I didn't have a doubt in my ability. That was never doubt in my mind. It's just the coach had different of opinion and wanted to bring different players in, and that's his prerogative. At the end of the day, that it comes down to him. So I ended up leaving at the end of that season and went to Newcastle I thought I could. I still have one more year in me. I wanted to play one more year and stuff. Unfortunately, it just wasn't here. So.
I mean, we'll get into that in a second. What was the conversation? Because obviously, you're a fan favourite at the time, and to suddenly just be on the outer and be used more in the A-League games whilst there was a Club World Cup going on, even though you did get to play in that. We'll go back to that in a second. Surely there was a conversation where you were told a reason, whether it's regenerating the squad or whatever it is, because surely someone like you, who was an inaugural member of the team and a leader, couldn't just accept that the coach had a different opinion and wanted to move in a different way. Do you remember what the conversation was?
Oh, vaguely. I can't even remember, to be honest. Vaguely, he just thought it was time for me to move on. I was getting to an older age and probably didn't have what it took to play at that level, which I disagree with, as usual. And
I don't think any others.
That's like I said, that's up to the coach at the time, and I haven't got an issue with it. So
okay. All right. So just before we get into our second A-League Grand Final, we get to a FIFA Club World Cup. You got to play against Gamba and the team from New Zealand, Waitaki United. And one other that I might be forgetting. What was that like? You were a game away from playing Man United. Obviously, another sort of momentum wave that the club went on again, whilst all in the one season. What were those memories like, going over to Japan?
Oh, it was amazing. Flew business class and all that type of thing, because it's a FIFA tournament, so they take over, and just the whole atmosphere is amazing. It's on at the moment. I think Real Madrid just won last night. So we saw.
Brings back memories.
Yeah, it does. We saw Ronaldo in that up close, and it is a big tournament and one great to be part of. I mean, teams get to be part of it, and then losing to Gamba again.
How did we get so much closer this time around? Within just a few weeks after getting humiliated 5-0 over 2 games, how did we? There were periods in that game where we should have scored.
They were a good team. They had Endo, who's probably one of the best Japanese players ever.
All time,
a couple of Brazilian players that were strong, and they were a good team. But it was just one of those games where we were a bit more competitive. A little bit less pressure on the final, and we still lost in the end, but it was a bit more competitive result.
Then we get to a second A-League Grand Final, again away to victory. Much closer game this time around. End up losing 1-0. I think it was Tom Ponduyak. Again, did those feelings of disappointment and the bridesmaid tag that we had of grand finals
didn't help Cristiano getting sent off. And they rescinded it afterwards, which makes no difference after. I think got sent off early, and we're pretty much against the run of play. We didn't capitulate this time, which was good.
Definitely not. No.
So we stayed competitive.
Very respectable.
But in the end, we lost again. So it wasn't a good result. but the performance was much better than the previous grand final.
Yep, no question about it. And just a little bit before we got there, I just want to quickly touch on the infamous implosion that occurred after we lost 4-0 in the semi there.
Yeah.
Vinny came out, said what he said in that press conference. Still to this day, a lot of people are wondering what was going on there, who he was referring to specifically. Do you have any kind of insight into what he might have been, pointing towards somebody there?
No.
Just frustration?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was just, a lot of frustration, and I don't even know. Yeah, I wasn't there for that game.
Yeah.
I was, and then to be fair, at that stage we probably didn't have a great relationship either.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't even know what he was referring to. So I don't think he's ever come out and said it.
No, he hasn't.
So I have to get him on here one day and ask him.
Right. So the Newcastle move. Was it an obvious one for you? You had to get out, and obviously. What I want to ask you is, you said before you feel like you had at least one more year, and you still weren't that old. You're only 32.
Yeah.
So, were all the years of being such a fierce, defender, going in hard, never pulling out of the tackle, was it a case of that was catching up to you physically, or why did you feel like you couldn't go on even longer? Because we see, it's commonplace in the A-League now, people hang the boots up 36, 37,
my knees were, my right knee wasn't 100%, wasn't good for the last 5, 6, 7 years, so I just thought I had one year left.
Okay.
And Newcastle gave me the opportunity, managed to play Champions League again with them. So
straight into another campaign.
Yeah, straight into it, which was good. You got to travel again to Asia, which great countries to go and experience the culture and stuff. And
I remember watching you play against Beijing Guan.
Beijing Guan.
Away over there.
Yeah, so some big teams again, some big players, and managed to go there and. Really enjoyed Newcastle as a city. Great little city on the beaches, and family enjoyed it too. And my son pretty much got his passion for the game there and then in Newcastle. He wasn't a big fan of football back or when I was playing and stuff. So once we went to Newcastle, we really found that passion. So people say, you wasted a year and going to Newcastle. Not really, because my son found that passion.
Of course.
You meet people, good friends, and so it's all a journey and another journey which we experienced, and was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
So that pretty much, after the season there at Newcastle, that pretty much was the time when you called your the curtains fell down on your professional career. You came back here, as I understand, and had a short stint playing NPL for Cobras. And then pretty much the pathway into your coaching career began back here at Adelaide. Now I want to ask you, was it the new owners that instigated that, or how did you come about getting recruited into the youth setup at Adelaide United in 2010 as I know you finished up as the youth reserves coach.
Well, Mickey was he was running the academies at the time. And as soon as I come back to Adelaide, I got involved with the academy side of things. And
so he gave you the call?
Yeah. We kept in contact, and so that was the area that I was going to come into when I came back. So got involved with those academy side, and then Mickey got the youth team job, and pretty much a few months later got involved there, and stayed there with him for probably 4 or 5 years. So really enjoyed a good time, and we saw a lot of good young players come through and get an opportunity from that youth team. So there's a couple still there now. Gordon Elsie's there now, and
so he would have been what, 16ish back then?
Around 16, 17. A.O. Mabil came through that area, and then you see Riley McGree was a bit later. He's playing A-League now, and Rawan Tongik and Bruce Kamau will come through that youth setup. So
what was it like? I'm glad you mentioned Jordan, because obviously now, as a local boy, it looks like his career trajectory is going to be a similar one to yours, having been, at the heart of Adelaide United's defence, similar traits. You mentioned him. Did you have much mentoring with him at all?
Yeah, he was a couple of years with us, and he started off a little bit slow, but then started as a fullback, and then
on the right side,
right back, and then once he matured a little bit and went into a centre back role, he's never looked back since. He's strong in the air and good passer of the ball, and a very physical tackler as well.
I'm told by a few people that even at 16 he was an absolute beast in the NPL with Para Hills. So
Para Hills.
You must have, having been in this situation one day yourself, back in time, you must have been able to identify, he had it. It was a case of just nurturing him and that.
Some players take more time than others, so it's just got to be patient as well. A lot of kids think they should be there straight away, so they just got to be patient and wait for the right moment, and then once they're there, they stay in. And he's had a lot of adversaries as well. He's had a couple of knees and wrists, and so he's worked hard to get there and deserves all the accolades he gets at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the Socceroos at some stage. So didn't have a great game. Last
obviously.
But he's still fairly young, and you're going to have those days. But he's had more up days and down days, which is good. Yeah,
really well said. You're involved in the youth setup. Talk us through the whole time you spent there. Did you then obviously got a job as the youth reserves coach, and you were Valkanis' assistant in 2015. They won the NPL, the state league that year. What was it like going back into coaching with alongside the man that you spent so long playing with in Valkanis?
Yeah, it was good. We pretty much started there with the youth team together, and we had our ups and downs as well. And once Joseph Gumbel come in, he did help with the way to coach and stuff. And then we never really looked back after that. It took a couple of years to build it. And then once we did build it, like we said, the reserves won the grand final or won the league, and then we won the state league, and then pretty much went to the MYL grand finals. We all made that. Unfortunately, didn't win it, but that was a couple of years of building and planning and stuff like that. It doesn't happen overnight. So
a lot of players came through.
We did. We had a young group, and we started young and a few older boys, and I reckon over that time probably had 15 or something that ended up playing A-League in one game, from one game to still playing now. So there's a lot that did come through. So
were you learning a lot being in this completely new position now, because you spent 5 years doing it, and with, like you said, you touched on Gumbel coming in, completely new style and principles and things like that. Did this almost force you to learn on your feet a lot throughout the 5 years that you had in a completely new role in football?
Well, pretty much the first few years we were just we had an idea of what we wanted, but then we probably didn't put it all together. But then once Joseph came, he pretty much helped us put it all together what we wanted. It was similar the way we wanted to do things, but he gave us those finer details to make it happen. So and that really worked well for us. He took A1 Bill came through that at that stage as well. He took A1 on, and he's flying in Europe at the moment. That's, as a coach, you look back and you can look at your trophies that you won, but you look at players and that you've coached, and when they send you a text and always say thanks. I think that's, for me, more than any trophy you got in the cabinet.
That's really quite inspiring. Alright, so fast forwarding to 2018, the current time that we're in, things have really started to happen for you in regards to your association with Adelaide United. All in the one time you were invited, like we spoke on at the very beginning of the interview, to play in the Legends game that happened a few weeks back. I just want to get your thoughts again on what it was like to put the kit back on. And just, if you can, tell us about how it is with the Red Army and your relationship, because you're one of those players that you'll see around the place here and there. You've kept in touch with fans that were there from the very early days, and obviously for them, more than anyone, it's a real privilege to be able to see you come back and actually playing at Cooper Stadium again, wearing the red. Unfortunately, it was a really hot day, and so
it was very hot.
We didn't probably get the turnout that we otherwise might have got. But
it was a good turnout. The Red Army did turn out, which was good. We always associated with the Red Army, which was good. I think even when we did coach in the state league, and that the Red Army used to come out as well. And we used to get big numbers, and we made sure that the players always went up to them, and the Red Army would always come in the change room too, and we won as well. So that the drums and Taco and all those boys, and we made them feel part of it as well, and they enjoyed coming to the games. So, and they still go to state league games as well, which is good to see. But going back to the Legends game, it was good. The clubs understands that they've moved away from that, and the new Pete in charge there now, and the guys there now, trying to bring him back now, which is good to see. So
it's exactly what Cassio said. Pretty much his words.
Yeah, well, I know he was been away from the club for a long time, and no one's really made contact with him, and we were there coaching and stuff. So we were involved for a little bit, but they went away from the old players. They didn't really want much to do with them, which was wrong, and the new regime now is starting to bring the old players back and get involved in some capacity, so it's good to see that they're trying to do things on that part.
Excellent. So around the same time that you got to play in the Legends game, a story came out in the Advertiser about the fact that your son Dominic, who's a youth team player with Adelaide United, is now playing with the club. So it creates a father-son combination that has never before been the case at Adelaide United. Tell us how Dominic is progressing with his football in the E team, and also what he's like as a player.
He's doing well, I think. I just drop him off now, I don't have much to do, so he gets... they played against Melbourne City yesterday, so he
hard loss.
It was. He played a part of that as well, so it's good. So it's something he wants to do. He wants to be a professional footballer, and he's working towards doing that. And he works hard. Away from his normal training, he'll do his own training and stuff like that. So he's progressing well, but he's still got a lot of work to do. He's still got a lot of work in front of him to get there. So
what position does he play?
He's more of an attacking player than me. He's a little bit quicker than me. That's what I say to him. He's a little bit quicker, but I tell him he's not as smart. So but he's got a bit of speed and attack and lots of score goals and stuff. So
brilliant, mate.
Hopefully one day we might see him out in Highmarsh. In the senior level will be good.
Just touching on that as well, he's being coached by Paul Pezos. How do you find that? There's a lot of talk that he's the brightest young mind coaching locally in South Australia at the moment. Is that a good mix there, or?
I think so. I think he's done well. He won the title with West Adelaide a few years back.
2015.
So he's got the runs on the board, and like I said, he's young and enthusiastic, loves the game. Done well last year in the NPL as well. They finished fourth with
finals.
With a fairly young team as well. And I know they have a lot of. It's difficult because a lot of senior contracted players had to have a break at certain times, and so it was a difficult time. But he managed to do well, and apart from the last couple of results, been doing well in the youth league as well. So he's doing very well at the moment.
Brilliant. Okay, so your busy 2018 continued as you were named the Croydon Kings as senior coach for the season 2019 in the NPL. Tell us how your preparations are coming along, and what your goal is regarding next season in the NPL as the head coach of Croydon Kings.
I was assistant coach this year. I had a couple of years off after the youth team, so I had a bit of a break and good friends of Mark Brazzali, who's the Croydon Kings coach.
He's still going to be involved.
He's technical director, still there. So he does a little bit of work with the juniors. So he got me on board, and the plan was do 1 year as assistant, then take over. So managed. We did that, and really enjoying it at the moment. It's just into. Probably been going 4 or 5 weeks of pre-season, so they had a bit of a break now, and then we'll start up in January again. And on the goals for the team, I said to them, I want to be a team that likes to play, good football, attacking football, but at the end of the day, we want to be known as a team that every time they go into the field that works their asses off and doesn't stop working and just want to be known as a hard-working team. That's my expectation for the team. I think. Just to be competitive and work as hard as we can.
Are there any plans to, do you at least want to make finals, or is it just a year of adjusting to being under a new coach? And then
it's a bit of a transition year. I think I want to be competitive and want to work hard, but the finals probably is the goal as a group. We'll sit down and towards February before the season starts, and we'll set the team goals. But I think at the moment for pre-season, we just want to work as hard as we can. And, we've got some good young boys. We've got some good young talent there, and the way they're going, I can't see them staying too long with us either. So, and that's one area that the club really enjoys. They want to be a club that brings young players and gives them an opportunity, and then
family feel in the background. And stuff.
It's a family club, but also we want the players to progress. We sent 3 players to the youth team. Adelaide United youth team took 3 players from us this year. So we sent 1 overseas as well, the same ability who's in Denmark. So we want to be a club that gives juniors a chance, and then gives them the opportunity to go to higher level as well. So we want to be like a destination club, especially for these younger boys. We want to give them the opportunity to go on and make professional players out of themselves.
Excellent. And just for you personally, are you just along for the ride, or do you have a long-term vision with your coaching and where you want to get with it?
I'm not really. At the moment, I'm just focusing on Croydon. I want to do well there, and then we'll see what happens after that. The possibilities open up. But one day, I want to get back into probably coaching at that higher level. So just taking it step by step, pace yourself, and I'm not in a rush. A lot of people get in a rush to get there, and they don't stay long in there. But I want to take my time, get there, and one day hopefully go higher.
Well, Angelo Costanzo, I just want to say to you, thank you so much for being integral in my earliest memories as a football fan.
I've scarred you for life.
We'll never forget all your contributions for Adelaide United and everything you've done since finishing up as a player there. All the very best with how things go with Croydon, and it's been an absolute privilege to get you into the studio for the Purebred Reds as our second Redden legend. Mate, all the very best with everything you do.
Thanks for having me. Merry Christmas to you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Merry
Likewise.
Christmas to all the Reds fans out there as well, and have a safe New Year. And we'll see you on Boxing Day. I'll be out there calling the game for Boxing Day.
Beautiful, mate. Thank you so much. It's been great having you, and we look forward to seeing more of Angelo Costanzo with his involvement in the football scene in South Australia. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you soon. Cheers.